The following is an exposition from a Twitter named Kevin Tellier. My comment is that he has not distinguished between misinformation frequently being thrown about by Western media and the official narrative by Chinese state media. Any investor who only reads Western media can easily conclude that the Chinese economy is in the blink of collapse any time. It is obvious false. Any serious investor in Chinese market must be able to read the Chinese government narrative and understands the motivation for each action. As the Chinese government is steering the society towards common prosperity in the coming 30 years, we shall see more regulations coming out. In order to make my comment separate from Kevin's exposition, his exposition is spoken with a different voice. Here it is.
The recent discourse on China's regulatory/political risk is frequently misconstrued, particularly by many investors and outside observers. Kevin Tellier has established 4 levels of competency among China-focused investors and analysts, based on my experience. For competency levels 1 ST level, the mainstream news cycle largely informs our understanding of important issues. Lacks the ability to identify or appreciate the repercussions of Chinese policy responses on a second-order level. Risk management framework that is muddled or non-existent. It's possible to overestimate the importance of regulatory developments depending on the size/popularity of headlines. For example, China's video game playtime restrictions may be considered equally significant, if not more so, than fintech legislation. Second level has a basic understanding of the second-order ramifications of Chinese policy responses. Ability to spot potential chances inside those second-order repercussions, but unsure how to formulate a strategy to take advantage of them. Recognizes that second-order repercussions must exist, but lacks the experience to identify them. For example, the investor sees a shift away from consumer technology and towards something else, but he can't quite put his finger on what that something else is. Level 3, a thorough comprehension of the second and third-order effects of Chinese policy responses. Ability to use probability weighting to find the best course of action for capitalizing on second-order repercussions. Unlike Level 2, Level 3 is capable of not only detecting the presence of sector rotation, but also predicting where capital will go next. Level 3 has a good grasp of the risk environment, but lacks the ability to implement the best strategy. Fourth level, strong foundational understanding of Chinese state policy responses' second and even third-order effects. Not only can you create a probability-weighted strategy, but you can also implement it with proper risk management. The primary difference between Level 3 and 4 is the capacity to execute a clear strategy. The hurdle here isn't knowledge, it's access to resources and opportunities that aren't available to retail or even skilled institutional investors. The most advanced Level 4 strategies are based on the establishment of special purpose funds to promote in-country private investment in areas that the Chinese government now considers strategic. For example, VC/PE funds dedicated to investing solely in early-stage analog chip firms aiming to exit on the SSE star market, and so on. The planned and unforeseen opportunities provided by adding regulation to previously unregulated industries are known as second-order repercussions. As rules tighten, certain market participants are incentivized to innovate outside of the state's jurisdiction. The vast majority of mainstream dialogue, particularly on Twitter, is classified as Level 1. Those who lack structure are frequently tossed around by the daily news cycle. Explains why so many people believe China is on the verge of collapsing, returning to Maoism, or both. Many people are wrongly hoping for the return of once dominant consumer technology brands. China's economy is plainly in transition, and consumer technology's chances of reclaiming the top spot are slim. Expect essential technology to be replaced. It's best to think of China's regulatory landscape as a continuous synthesis of innovation and regulation. Predicting future innovation is only one part of the equation. Concurrent regulation must also be considered as a structural component of that innovation. To summarize, the information presented here is entirely educational, allowing people with an interest in China to engage in more educated analysis and decision-making.